What's up, Craig? How you doing? Where have you been?
Is he sitting there staring at us like Georg used to do?
Oh, no. He's just looking for Georg. Georg didn't show up. I
Thought maybe
sent
Craig had
him.
caught the plague or something like Georg did.
No, but I did find a way to send Georg to a farming community upstate.
All right. Hopefully it helps with his problems.
Yes, it should help with his headaches. He should not have any more headaches.
All right.
None at all. Forever gone.
Oh, hey,
Yep.
so I am Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay.
And
And
I am
are you
Grumpy
getting?
Dungeon Master Christopher, and I've eaten way too much food.
Oh, okay. I thought you were getting Georg's headaches or something for a moment.
No, it's my anniversary today, and been partying too much. Had too much to drink, had too much to eat, and I just purchased a new pop figure online. So yeah,
What'd you
you
get?
know, I got the Vecna GameStop exclusive pop figure.
Is it just a hand? I hope it's just a hand.
No, it's actually Vecna.
Oh, okay. Is he missing a hand and an eye?
No, it's just Vecna.
Well, no. Vecna was missing his hand and his eye.
Well, this is before he was missing his hand and his eye.
Okay, so it's when he was, but he was a lich, right?
Yeah.
All right, making sure it wasn't like pre-lichdom because nobody gives two shits about pre-lichdom Vecna.
No, this is definitely post Lichdom Vecna, but he still has his hand and his eye. Although one looks kind of wonky and his hand looks kind of wonky. But I have all the other D&D pop figures. I got the Mimic one this weekend as well too. I showed that off on the stream. The only one that I don't have is the New York Comic Con exclusive Tiamat pop figure. So
That's probably really expensive.
yeah, it kind of is. Most pop figures that are con are super expensive.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be pricier than a normal one, and a Tiamat one that just screams, "I'm worth a lot of money."
Yeah, it's $135 on Amazon
My God,
right now.
for a pop
Yeah.
figure.
Well, I did find the book that I was looking for, and this is actually what I wanted to talk to you about. So, I did find the Tyranny of Dragons, Rise of Tiamat book. I think it was like the first or one of the first books they released for 5th edition. It was through Kobold Press.
It was one of the real early ones, like
Right, right.
for fifth. It was first or second, I think.
And it's like half the size of a normal campaign book that we would get now. And part of that was because there's a 2-part story. There's part one, which is the Rise of Tiamat, and then it was like Horde of the Dragon Queen was the second one. Or swap it around. I don't know which is which. I don't know which is which because I haven't read them both. The collector's edition that they released when they started doing the collector edition covers is both of those together with some added material. All right.
Okay.
But good luck finding the collector's edition because it's out of print. And it's been out of print for a while. But so has Tyranny of the Dragons. But I wanted to keep the non-collector's editions to keep my collection looking the same. So I actually went to eBay, found someone, and bought that book off of eBay. It cost a lot.
I am looking at them right now. The
Yeah.
cheapest one I see, the cheapest Rise of Tiamat is $87, free shipping.
Yeah, is that a buy it now?
Yeah, it is a buy it now. I don't
Yeah.
look at auctions.
That's what I spent. So, not my most expensive D&D purchase for a book, but definitely probably the most expensive per book that I've spent.
Yeah.
Your Monsters book that I bought from you was still at least 3 books in there, even if I'd already owned 2 of them.
That was a whole set, fully sealed. All of that jazz.
And what I also found out too is they are when May hits and they release Morning Cannon's Monsters of the Multiverse, they are stopping print of both the Volo's Guide to Monsters and the Morning Cannon's Guide, Morning Cannon's Tome of Foes. Both of those are going to be taken out of print, 100%.
Guess I'm gonna have to buy more copies of those.
And then it includes the collector's editions, which are already like $500 a piece.
Yeah, I have the collectors for Xanathars. Unfortunately, I didn't expect it to go up in price, so I wasn't cautious with it, and it's all scuffed up and stuff. But yeah, those things are
Right.
ridiculous. They're
I
incredibly
found
expensive.
I found that out because I was actually one of the questions has been when the new Morning Cadence comes out, how is D&D Beyond going to handle the books? And because Wizards is stopping the printing of that book, that they're going to pull those from their market, so you can't buy them anymore. So D&D Beyond is
so you're not going to be able to get those books on D&D Beyond.
right. If you already own them, you still own them in the content, and they'll still show.
All right, okay.
They're still going to show the database, and they're going to show the monsters on the multiverse version. They're going to show the non monsters on multiverse version. So that's cool that you're doing that. So if you want them both, you have to get them now before May hits. And the funny part is that there's more in those books than just monsters and monster stats. There's a lot of lore that is not included in the new one, because the new one is just monsters. It's just monsters and races, just monsters and races. Very little lore has been added in there. So all the lore stuff that's in Volo and all the lore stuff that's in Tome of Foes is kind of just going way the dodo for some reason. I don't know why they're doing that. Why they're getting rid of all that extra lore.
Usually you start seeing them, like the going out of print portion of it, and honestly the killing of the lore of it is they're likely prepping for the next edition. Like that's typically when you'll see things like that happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've been talking about, whether that next year, 2023, is going to be 5.5 or 6.
Right.
I still think it's going to be 6, that just with 5.5, retroactive compatibility. But, everyone else is like, no, it's going to be a 5.5. Everything will be fine. I'm like, no, it's going to be a 6.
I'm not even sure that they're going to do that. I'm still seeing things a little differently this time around. Like it feels more as if though they're just making adjustments, and they're probably not going to call it a 5.5. I doubt they're going to go to 6 yet. They're probably just going to keep calling it 5th and make adjustments as they go, which is what they seem to be doing. We've bitched. I've bitched and complained about some of the adjustments. Not really a fan of the direction they're taking, but that's just what it feels like to me. That's what it seems to be. Like 6th
Bruce,
edition,
since you kicked in the door and sat down here and want to be part of the conversation, what are your thoughts on this?
He doesn't play Dungeons and Dragons.
It's very simple. Just come to Pathfinder where it's nice and graying.
No one plays Pathfinder.
Everyone plays Pathfinder.
No, kids who are still stuck in the 80s and want to play 3.5 are still playing Pathfinder.
3.75.
Yeah, it's 3.75.
And that's why.
So much better. Back in the glory days of yay. 4 sucks and 5 is it's okay. But who wants okay when you can have pristineness?
Well, see, I have better than okay because I purchased the advanced 5e rules, which are effectively the 3.5 rules of 5th edition.
Well, fine. I'll one-up you. Why are you guys playing your kiddie game when you could be hackmastering? That's the adult game.
That is a fair point. I won't even argue against that because we could be playing Hackmaster, which is the far superior game.
Yeah, but we're not old enough or strong enough, and people don't like us.
I like you.
Oh.
We're definitely old enough.
I don't think we are. We're not. I think we're old enough for second, but we're not old enough for first.
Well, technically I am. I started at the beginning of 2nd edition. Like it was just out. So I could have been playing 1st edition before that.
It's true, but like Hackmasters is kind of like a bridge of all of the good things from all of the editions.
Yeah, I've read through the rule books. It's really good. I need to actually play it at some point.
My problem is just because it's a whole different rule set, and if I'm going to get someone into playing a tabletop, I'm going to have to draw them in with something that's popular, a lot of people play, and Pathfinder would work, honestly, but D&D works better because more people just know that name.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Pathfinder would have worked, but
I still
Hackmaster's
say to
never going to
people
work.
I still say to people that I play D&D even though I'm playing Pathfinder. It's not a knock on Pathfinder. It's just you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's like
At the end of the day,
I use Kleenex even though it's probably Puffs.
Yep.
you use puffs.
I'm
What
just
kind
giving
of
it. I'm giving
heathen are you?
an example, dude. An example.
It's like everyone in the South orders Coke. They might be getting a Pepsi, but they order a Coke.
Yeah, those kind of heathen things. What's up, guys?
Anyways, hi Bruce.
Hi,
The beer-
Beer Bandit.
The beer bandit is in town.
Good. You can replace Geark now for us.
Yep.
Oh, Geark was always a secondary or tertiary person to me. I am an honorary grumpy dungeon master.
That's true. You definitely are. Whereas Geark has never dungeon mastered or anything. All he did was stare at us with his dead eyes.
And drool. So yeah, if they are coming out with a new edition, I hope they do it soon, and I hope that it's
Made by Paizo.
It's definitely not going to be made by Paizo, although it might not be made by Hasbro either.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a couple $100 million lying around, I'll buy D&D and just get in that way. The first change I'll make is to their Dragon Plus magazine. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, if you go to the Dragon magazine online, the text is white on a white background. Maybe it's different on the phone, but for some reason, the entire Dragon magazine is published with white text on a white background, and that's inside of their reader that they have for the magazine. So I can't even read about the cool new stuff because it's all white on white.
That is horrible. What the hell?
I know.
Secondly, well, the first thing I would do if I actually was able to just purchase Dungeons and Dragons, since we're talking about Dragon Magazine, I would actually release physical copies of Dragon Magazine and put them on the shelves again.
Well,
that's the worst business decision you could possibly make ever.
If
Please don't buy a company.
Nah, magazines don't cost that much money.
If I could buy the whole thing, the first thing I would do is move it about 500 years in the future, and any named characters that could have ever possibly lasted as long as they did, Drizzt, I fuck you, hate you, is gone. And new lore, new everything. Let's just go.
No, hell no. Not even remotely. Like I was going to be talking about the canon of things here in a little while, and like people who play Dungeons and Dragons specifically play those settings. They want the previous lore to be canon.
Oh, it's still canon. It's just 500 years later. The exploits of Drizzt and whoever are all done. It's time for new story.
They've already done most of that. Drizzt is like the only one who's still around. Fucking everybody else from the old novels is dead at this point.
Good. I mean, you guys did kill Volo, right?
Wasn't me.
My party did kill Volo, yes.
We just keep on killing them, guys. Come on.
Yeah, like Elminster's probably still around, but since they don't actually write novels anymore, except for the Drizzt novels, nobody knows.
They're all gone. It's time for new heroes, new legends, new novels. Let's go.
I'm all for new stuff. I mean, I absolutely love new novels, new storylines, new characters. I want that. That's important. But you got to stick with what's already been as well. That lore can't go changing. You don't rewrite that shit.
It doesn't change. It's just in the past now.
But you can't ignore it.
It's just in the past. Unless you're going to run a campaign that time travels, it doesn't.
I mean, if you go 500 years like you're talking, okay, yeah, that's a long time. You can kind of skirt around things at that point.
Then it'd just be the dungeons, or it'd just be the past layers of all these things that were myth and lore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently running a campaign where I did that. My characters jumped 600 years into the future, and their previous exploits, like certain ones, didn't get written in history the way they should have. because that's what happens in history.
Well, unless you have a bunch of bards running around with you on your dime, that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So I was flipping through this Dragon magazine, and they're coming out with they show a bunch of new figures. This is where I found out that there was a Vecna figure that got released. They're coming out with a it looks to be adult or maybe bigger size Elder Brain Dragon from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons.
Of course
It
they are.
looks so cool.
Is the Vecna figure missing a hand?
No, this is pre-missing hand and eye.
I'm out.
I literally just covered that right before you sprung in here.
They also have a premium mini Beholder figure that comes with a book called Guide for Training Your New Beholder.
Oh my God! They need to kill D&D.
And then they're coming out with
train a beholder.
And then they're coming out with this huge, massive Tiamat Battle Demi scale figure, which basically is from the
or 10th
quarter scale.
Sorry, yeah, 10th. Demi is 10th scale.
Okay, 10th scale of the cartoon Tiamat with all the cartoon heroes, them fighting Tiamat, and it's only $1,400.
Ooh, okay. Only $400 for all those characters to die really fast.
It stands 22 inches tall and weighs 41 pounds.
Did Games Workshop take over and we're not aware of it?
Maybe they bought D&D.
Like if they're making miniature,
no,
$1,400 miniature. That sounds like Games Workshop.
Yeah, and unpainted.
Unpainted.
And it's 1/20th scale.
Well, that's not a demi scale. Then demi literally means 1/10.
A dual demi scale.
Or subhuman.
No, yeah, or that.
All I care about is miniatures. I just need people to give me as many miniatures. I need to get as many miniatures as I can. I'm buying that Terrask when it comes out.
Yeah. Now, if anybody wants to donate the Tiamat miniature fighting all of those heroes to the Grumpy Dungeon Masters, we'd give you a shout. We'd give you a shout out. Maybe even let you on the podcast.
Grumpy Dungeon Masters Patreon
that we still have never put together.
Nope. Maybe soon. Maybe for the 2nd year anniversary, which is coming up soon.
Okay. Grumpy _ Dungeon Masters _ podcast Cash App.
We do accept Bitcoin, however, and all forms of crypto.
Yeah, we only accept full coins.
Yeah,
quarter coin shit.
Yeah, don't give me 1/75th of a Bitcoin. I don't want your $400 or whatever the hell that would be.
Cash App actually uses Bitcoin, so there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. Like I said, it was my anniversary, and my wife bought me a brick of Tyranny of Dragons minis. So she wanted to give me something different than what I've been buying, and I got like 4 dragons out of the deal. It was pretty nice, and there was also an invisible Dritz in there for some reason.
Oh
There's just
my
Dritz,
God!
invisible, and she's like, "This is mine." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's my mini. Put it down."
Just throw it in the trash.
And when you don't see it again, you'll just think that you just can't see it because it's invisible.
I just want to know why Dritz is invisible. I mean, why not? I guess
no one wants to see him.
Because he has a stealth of like 200 or some shit.
You can't see me. I'm invisible.
Yeah. He's a ranger. He's a rogue. He's got plenty of stealth skills.
He's a god, a planeswalker. What else?
At this point, more or less.
Well, you know what he can't do? He can't cook a good spring roll.
Okay. Now I'm hungry.
Damn, spring rolls sound really good.
I had like a huge steak before I came here, so I'm tapped. I'm surprised I'm not asleep right now.
You could do it.
Where's my steak?
So Bruce,
I sent you beers. Where's my steak?
I sent you the steak in the mail. You should get it tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Did you not get the tracking number?
I did not.
Well, I sent it like in a postcard, so I don't know if it's gonna make it there or not. But here's hoping.
Omaha steaks?
Oh no, this is just like some like skirt steak that I found on the floor in the kitchen.
Oh.
I just put it in an envelope and shipped it
Yeah,
your way.
he went and bought one of those freezer steaks. The ones that come with the frozen vegetables on the side of it that you just throw in the microwave.
No, thank you. Hard pass.
So Bruce, since you're here, tell us a good recent tabletop story that you've been a part of.
He doesn't get to play anymore.
Most recent one would be everything that you already guys have known. I mean, do you want to rehash something?
No, I want you to play more games and tell us more stories.
Okay. I have to check out on that one.
Because he doesn't ever get to play anymore, unfortunately.
Nope. I don't get to run or play. I guess the closest thing I got to a story about playing is I played a frost giant for a friend of mine. I whooped the ass of a player of his and blocked the door of the treasure vault when I was dying.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Well, there you go.
So
It
when
wasn't
when your frost giant died and fell in front of the door to the treasure vault, did they have to cut their way through you to get to it?
It's possible. I don't know if they did so because I believe I
not.
turned into like this crazy ice, like unbreakable statue.
Oh, okay, yeah, you were a follower of that thing.
Yep.
That
Yeah, I think they wouldn't have been able to cut through you, not for a while at least.
Yep.
And
My players, decided to split the party. So,
that's rule number 1. You don't do that shit.
well, the funny part is because there's 9 players at the table, splitting the party is still 4 of them.
Yeah, I guess that's okay. I guess.
So they arrived in town and they found out that one of the people they're going out to collect the bounty on is in town. And they decided to basically split the party and 3 were gonna go one way, 4 were gonna go another. There's only 7 in this case. So the 4 that went out started basically like scouting out the mercantile group that their bounty was with to see if they can find more information. And the other 3 decided basically, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're going to go to the tavern and get more information about the goings on around here because they're really interested in like what the Frost Maiden is and what she's doing and why she's doing what she's doing. So they're trying to get information about that. Well, their mark was in the tavern, and they walk in, and I was like, "So what do you guys do? You guys gonna look around or just start talking?" He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna start talking." We're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." All right. Roll the stealth check. I was like, "What's your guys' passive perception?" And they're all like, "Oh, it's like mine's 14." That was the highest there, and my guy rolled like a 27 or some crazy number. And they're walking around, and he basically sneaks up behind the one player that he recognizes and stabs her in the back for like 20 damage right at the start. And combat started with those 3 players and the mark they needed to kill. And the other group was 300 feet away. That's what I estimated. 300 feet away, just to give it a good round number. And this is why people definitely need to know what their backgrounds are. And if you're writing backgrounds for a character, like for people to actually choose when they're developing their characters, to give them really cool, awesome, like flair things that they can add to their characters. Because we went through and read the Ouroboros stuff on stream last Thursday, and all the backgrounds were pretty much just you get access to a library and you get access to their food stores, and your partners can or can't come with you. And that was what pretty like half the backgrounds were. They weren't that interesting, but some were actually pretty cool. But in this case, one of the players at the table had like it was either urchin or some kind of thievery background. And part of that background is that he actually gets double movement speed if he's traversing through a city. So that 300 feet that they needed to cover to get to the other group to help them with this final big bad got cut down immediately in half to 150. And what the Tabaxi Ranger thing that they had there was actually able to basically cover that entire distance in one move because Tabaxis are broken. when it comes to moving long distances super fast.
I mean, who
But it was
doesn't want
really
to play
neat.
it? Yeah, who doesn't want to be a tabaxi monk that can literally just move 300 feet in a round?
But it was really interesting that the background came into play and actually pretty much saved the party, because if that fourth player hadn't shown up to help them, the big bag would have won. And then if the other three hadn't shown up there afterwards, like near the second end of the fight, they wouldn't be able to push through all the way. And it was really interesting that I didn't TPK them in Adventures League again. What's actually funny about it was the other table that we had running almost did TPK. It came down to one player that was still up, and he basically disengaged, ran past the boss, and like threw a healing potion down somebody's throat. And like that was the clinch moment to get that party to not TPK. So it's not always me that almost TPKs everybody. It's just anyone there at the store.
It's just Adventures League.
Yeah, that too. Well, they're actually tier 2 now, so everyone there is level 5. And we're gonna hit tier 2 here in a little bit.
My favorite part about circling back to what you asked me about being the frost giant is when Waples asked me, like, when I asked Waples, hey, what are the rules about picking up somebody and throwing them? Because he told me the size of the room I was in. And so
there's not very good rules on that.
Jay, my tactic was I kept scooping up their guy and throwing them into the corner of where the wall met the ceiling. He taking damage from me throwing them, and then falling the 40 feet to the ground and taking damage there. And then he had to get back up and run towards me.
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid tactic, especially if you're a grung, you can just jump straight up in the air and then fall to your death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, truthfully, the rules it doesn't have anything like that for large or huge creatures picking up things and throwing them around, but it really should.
I mean, it was quite fun because he was like, well, hitting any various spot on the wall and or ceiling was like hitting an AC 10. And so I'm like, I could almost fumble and still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they take falling damage of 30 or 40 feet worth, however far it is.
I don't think they have a grappler archetype for the fighter in 5th edition. I know there was one in 4th, and it worked out really well. But I don't think there's anything like that in 5th.
You're effectively, from the way I understand it, if you grapple somebody, you can just make their movement 0 and they have to try to escape them. If you want to make a second grapple attempt, you can pin them. It shouldn't even require a feat to do that.
Yeah. That's really weird. I mean, I guess the advantage is cool, but
Yeah, I mean, if you have it, getting advantage on something you have grappled is probably pretty good, because they can't move away from you without making. They have to beat you at a grapple check, which they shouldn't be able to do most of the time if you're built for it. But honestly, there's just better builds and better ways to just get advantage. Getting advantage is not that difficult.
Still very better.
At the end of the day, too, you can just shove a creature down, and it's almost better.
Yep. Be a fighter. Take trip.
Or just be a wolf.
Or be a wolf and get the trip action. Yeah.
Or take the shield mastery.
Yep. Yeah, there's tons of ways to knock people prone. Cast grease. I actually got to do that yesterday.
Then set it on fire?
Yeah, you set it on fire?
No, I didn't set it on fire.
Boo! I tried
in 1-2 punch.
Yeah. In the same vein of the grease and setting it on fire, my DM for the streaming game is newbie DM, and he's doing everything by XP. So we're like, we're really kind of happy when we have random encounters happen. So there was a random encounter that happens, and I'm on watch, and it's a bunch of Sturges. And I'm like, I can handle a bunch of Sturges by myself. I'll get all the experiences for myself and kill them and not wake anybody up. So the Sturges happen, and they absolutely just wreck me. I think I'm down to 3 hit points from like 30.
Points in D&D? In Pathfinder, they just drain Constitution.
Well, no, not in 5th ed.
Yeah, it's just hit points nowadays.
but I had 4 stuck in me, and there was like a 5th one right next to me. And I asked the DM if I move into the square with the 5th one, can I just use my breath weapon to spew straight up into the air and have it rain down upon me, Dirty Dancing style, and hit all the Sturges that are on me and the other Sturges in the square? And he said no. He said, bring it up on the podcast, see what they say. So since I have both of you here by happenstance, what do you say? Can I breathe in a line straight up above my head and have it rain down upon me?
Okay, well, what are you breathing out?
I am breathing out acid in a straight line, 30 feet. Dex save, and I was like a 12.
When you spew acid in a line, is there splash damage in D&D?
No, it just covers that whole square that everybody's in.
So there's no adjacent for half or anything like that, no splash damage.
No, sometimes DMs do that, but it's just, whatever square it touches is covered in
via
acid.
the actual written rules, whatever's in that square takes the effect, save for half.
Are you immune to acid yourself?
I am resistant to acid.
I'm as a DM, I would rule. I would make you make a roll to see that you kept a true straight up spew.
Mm-hmm.
And if you made said roll, then yes, it would rain upon you, which you would take possible acid damage, and anything on you that did not flee would also possibly take damage, but they would get saves because you're obviously moving and convorting, and because they're sucking the life force out of you.
Yeah. Well, the Surgers have 2 hit points, so even if they do save, they're going to take 1d10 damage, and as long as I roll a 4 or better, they're dead. So that was a risk I was willing to take.
You know me, like I tend to stick pretty closely for the rules on stuff like that. It allows you to spray it in a line. I would say if you wanted to just hit the single square that you're in, you could. It's going to hit everything in the square. It doesn't matter whether you look down and spray it or look up and spray it. The final effects are going to hit everything in the square. So,
yeah, what he let me do, and I think this was a good middle ground because I was trying to get trying to squeeze a DM for my best case scenario. He let me just basically breathe on myself and just cover my square and me, and I automatically failed the roll. And I was good with that. I was really good with that because I still got the 4 Sturges that were on me. I just had to make sure I rolled a 4 or better. So I did. They all died, and I took half my hit points in acid damage.
So speaking of acid damage, so I was running a game last night for my regular crew, and my buddy Johnny, who plays the rogue in the party, and I say that with parentheses rogue. He has a rogue class. He is a rogue. He just doesn't think like a rogue most of the time. So he had missed the previous game session, so I just sort of inserted him in where they were at, and it takes a little bit to sort of get back into the swing of things, having not played for a little while. So they find a locked door. It's the only one they found inside this entire damn dungeon, and he rolls a die, tells me it's like a 23 or a 26 or something like that, and then I immediately start telling him, oh, well, you have found a trap. And his response to me was, I didn't say I was looking for a trap. He apparently was rolling to pick the lock on the door. So him and everybody in that hallway end up getting sprayed down by acid from the acid trap on the door. So yeah, be very, very clear as to what it is you're doing. And if you're playing a rogue, check for traps before trying to unlock doors.
Yeah, definitely check for traps, no matter where you go.
Yep.
Even if you can't check for traps, check for traps.
Yeah. Always look for traps. If you find a door, check for traps before trying to unlock it.
There was we were rewarded with a little tiny box, and the necromancer that gave it to us was like, inside you'll find something very useful. And I'm like, oh, okay, bye now.
I hope it's a head. Is it a head?
So I gave it to the cleric, and he said, I'll identify it. And he cast identify on the box. Well, It cast identify on the box and not what was inside the box. So he was like,
I was
"Oh
gonna say,
shit!"
that's not gonna work.
So he's like, "All right, guys, I'll open the box." I was like, "All right, cool." I move 30 feet away and say, "Go for it!"
Yep.
And he opens the box and ring of protection, but we didn't even check it for traps. They're just like, okay.
I'm gonna open the lid on this thing, see what happens. Ah, it's a mimic.
He actually joked that it was a mimic at first because someone says little tiny baby mimic. It's just stuck to your hand forever. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be cute.
Just gnawing on your hand.
What was the old Looney Tunes character that was basically like a gnawing dog that just stuck to your ass and would chew on you, or like your head? Oh, I can't remember.
I don't remember his name. Wasn't it just he was like the hound dog, always messing with Sylvester?
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, guys, I got a jet. You guys have fun.
All right,
buddy.
bye.
Thanks
for contributing. Thank you for the beers. Make
No
sure to
problem.
listen to the Drunk with Buds podcast this Friday. We're actually going to be on it.
Yeah, and then listen to every one of them after that, and go back and listen to the previous ones.
Yep. And then listen to the Grumpy Dungeon Masters, which you're already doing.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.
See you,
Bye,
man.
Bruce. Craig, I said don't let anybody through the door. God.
Well, he has to let any grumpy dungeon masters in. You know the rules.
We're the original.
Yeah,
No, only the original. If Panda shows up, I quit.
Now I'm waiting. Me and Panda are going to end up finishing this podcast without you. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he stopped in. I did notice him hopping on Divinity 2 earlier. I think he really wants us to be playing that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's a good game.
I-
If you're not
I'm-
watching
yeah.
our Monday and Tuesday stream, we're playing Divinity Original Sin 2, and it's we have a party of we pretty much have the trifecta party. We have a tank, we have a rogue, and we have a healer mage. Then we got the summoner, and it's a lot of fun. And we're a very dysfunctional party, which is great. Like 4 DMs, we couldn't work our way out of a plastic bag if we were really these characters. It's so much weirder when you sit on the player side after DMing a whole bunch and like trying to play the game in a way that we can like not like trying to use the game rules to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we rolled up to this necromancer, we were level 3, and we're fighting 15 zombies. Okay, well, I know as a DM that if this necromancer has 15 zombies, he's got some spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh yeah, we can take him. Just like, no, we cannot.
No.
He's gonna murder us.
It's been really interesting playing that game specifically because one, it's the first RPG, not like MMO, but just RPG that I've ever played video game style with other people. Because typically, like Dragon Age and all these other games like that is just solo. You just play by yourself. So this is the first one I've ever had the opportunity to play like this, and it feels like a proper Dungeons and Dragons game. And speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
My presence was requested.
Yeah, I think Waples is about to leave, and just me and you are going to finish this podcast.
Oh, okay.
No, we just had Bruce the Beer Bandit show up, and I was like, damn it, if Panda shows up, I'm out. And that's when I messaged you. I was like, hey, just hop in and say hi.
There you go.
Yeah, we've got another 15, 20 minutes or so on this podcast.
We're talking Divinity. You liking Divinity so far?
Loving Divinity.
Yeah.
I started a solo run through yesterday.
Yeah, normally we don't talk video games too much on this podcast, but honestly, with Divinity, I think we probably should at least a little bit because of how much it truly feels like playing a Dungeons and Dragons game with the 4 of us together.
Oh, it does at times, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you mean you attacked the guard? Why are we in combat? I'm trying to talk to this person over here. Why are you? Oh, fuck me! All right, I'm on my way.
Panda, did you try to steal from this vendor? This vendor won't deal with me. What did you do to him?
Yep, absolutely.
It's great. I really am enjoying it. I really hope that we, try to still keep working our way through the game and not like looking up all like the secret tips and tricks and shit like that. It would just really just fumble our way through the entire game blind and just like hitting every single wall along the way.
Oh, we can. Like a lot of the stuff up to the point we're at, I was familiar with because I'd already played up to that point. But going forward, I haven't played anything past where we're at. So,
I do know that we've already missed shit that we will never see now.
oh yeah, of course we did.
Oh yeah.
And I'm good with that. Yeah, like I'm not one of these people who has to find every single little secret in a playthrough. I don't want to do that.
I don't need every secret, but if I come across something and then I can't finish it, it drives
It's
me a little
annoying.
batty.
Yeah.
So for example, without really spoiling too much or anything like that, like we're never going to have that cat familiar.
Oh, I know. That irritated
That's
me.
just forever gone.
Fucking guard.
Yep. And it's just one of those random things that can end that quest.
Yep. And that's the cool
Gone.
part about that game that, tabletop D&D lets you have those random, you make a mistake and like it's not really going to ruin the story, but the mistake has been made and you're done with,
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 2 last night on my intimidation check. Well, now I'm not going to be able to intimidate this guy at all ever again.
Yep. And I absolutely have withheld items. I have withheld information, things like that, depending on how badly my players rolled or what poor ass choice they made along the way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Negative things happening to players is not a negative thing for the game. You losing that summon is the perfect example. It doesn't change anything, at the end of the day. You just don't get that summon. You don't get that cool thing.
Yeah, like
But at the end of the day,
I could have
you're
had
still
find
enjoying the game.
familiar. I could have had the
Yeah.
find familiar thing, but I don't. It's not game breaking. I don't have to have it, and the fact that I will never get it going forward kind of sucks. But it's part of the game.
Yep. Now, I will say the biggest, I think, related from Divinity to D&D is when someone splits the party. Waffles.
All of us.
I'm sorry, what?
And
Literally every
suddenly-
one of us.
But it's the only person who's actually let us into a TPK.
That is true. Yes.
But that was not my fault 100%.
Did you wander off?
No, I was right next to the summoner.
They're bad guys?
I'm going to actually agree with Waples on this one because while he did get us into that fight before we were prepared, we then came back and tried it a second time and still got the shit kicked out of us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's an actual hard fight.
We did win it.
On the third, I think it was the third try, or maybe it was the second, but it might have been the second. But we had to use a resurrection scroll, and it was a very difficult fight.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely a hard one. But, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm liking that. I want to bumble our way through that entire game, and get it completed, and just see how far we can make it before we kill each other.
Well, I think we'll beat it.
I was watching a video earlier, so since we're still sort of talking about streaming video games, the next time we decide to do 7 Days to Die, we should do the Darkness Falls mod.
Absolutely.
Because that actually will sort of balance the game out. In the fact, like me and Waples, we played that game so much. We have so much knowledge on everything about that game. But the Darkness Falls mod completely alters it. Like they actually add in classes. There's a lot of other stuff. Zombies their AI is different. They add different types of zombies, things that we've never seen. And like if we don't look all this stuff up before doing that, that would be a completely new playthrough for us.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I will say, even if it wasn't for the fact that, no matter what, because we're doing mods, we have to, a server is required.
Yeah, it will.
I'm playing it again. I'm still playing 7 Days to Die. I'm playing on someone else's private server, and we've had 8 people running at the same time with no real issues. It's also the same glitchy nonsense 7 Days to Die is known for. I'm running around, I open up a chest, and somebody kicks me out of the fucking game, because why not?
Yeah.
Or a vehicle goes sinking through a ground, and it's like, okay, yeah.
But you're not lagging when you're in the city or anything like that. So.
Nope, not even a little bit.
Yep.
I was
So
running.
back to
I ran
D&D
around
talk.
and did some stuff. Yeah, D&D
Yeah.
stuff.
Panda, would you spend $1,400 on a Tiamat statue?
No,
You spend $300 on a gargantuan mini?
no.
Where's your pride?
Panda doesn't even use minis. He does all his gaming online.
Oh no, I use minis. I have
Oh,
one of my games. I run two. My Wednesday night games are are online because I started them that way as a response to COVID.
Yeah.
But my Saturday games we're back to face, and now I'm
Okay.
like once again trying to like get all my shit together because I'm like, fuck, I got all these minis I haven't painted. I've got these buildings I built out of like core foam and stuff like that are real detailed, but I haven't finished them yet, and I'm just like, oh my god, I have so much shit I have to do, and there's not enough time in the day anymore. But that's why I'm not going to spend $300 on a Tiamat figure. What am I going to do with that? If ever my players run into Tiamat, it will be once ever. I am not spending
$60 on a Jubilex.
$300 for that. Even a Jubilex,
Yeah,
I
but
can make a Jubilex. Give me
yeah,
some
but
fucking hot glue gun and random bits. I'll make a Jubilex.
I was gonna say just blow your nose.
yeah, but it's the size of a house cat. You could cuddle with it
Why? What am I going to do that for?
because it's Tiamat. She's cutie.
No, she's not. It's a fucking dragon. And I'm saying, I'm like, hey, I'm the guy that like, all right, cool. I need pirates. You know what? I'm not buying pirates off of WotC. I'm not spending $12 for two figures on two random nothing, pieces of shit that are just gonna die. I might do that for like some cool looking like orc barbarians or something. But like, if I need a bunch of little dudes, I am not buying WotC figures.
You could do it. You
Um,
could do what I do. Like I just have this thing called graph paper and pencils, and I mark where people are at, and they move around that way.
I mean, all of my guys have minis, and I have a grid board and stuff like that in case I don't have like maps or like buildings or maps made out, and I can just quickly draw something out on a large, clear, like glass board. Um, and the minis move around just fine, and everything else like that. I got no problem with that. I like it because it also helps with like height elevation and stuff like that because I can just like stack stuff up and be like, all right, cool, they're up here.
I love the idea of minis. I've talked about it ad nauseum on here, but it's costly. It's expensive. So yeah, I'm a cheap dungeon master. I don't spend money to run games.
Even if I proxy every other fucking figure that I'm using, if I'm running kobolds and I'm using a mixture of like goblins and halfling figures, who gives a fuck? They're NPCs, they're
Who's gonna
monsters, they're
care?
gonna
Yeah.
die. But the players having printed, like not even printed, just minis that represent them, painted to the way they want to look, is so great for their helping them get into the character that I love that part of it.
Yeah,
In fact, when
I
I
do appreciate
started
that.
doing it, I actually bought a Heroes Forge mini for my roommate. It took a few months for it to get here, but it's awesome, and it represents exactly what his character looks like.
Yeah, I love Hero Forged. I used it a lot when I was running the online game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd go in there. All the players made their guys on Hero Forge, and just we didn't actually order the minis. Maybe some of them did, but we just had the image of them that we used for tokens on Roll20. Worked great.
I will say the one
Oh yeah,
monster that I do not mind splurging a little bit for is my goblins, because the Pathfinder goblins look dope. I love them. I way prefer the Pathfinder look of goblins to the regular WotC ones, with their like big shit-eating grins and the ears that come out to the side. They just look awesome. If you ever look at minis just for the fun of it, look up the Pathfinder deep cut goblins. They are amazing.
Good to know. Yeah, we were talking with our buddy Bruce, the beer bandit, earlier. He was talking about using Warhammer minis for specifically from a fantasy Warhammer for D&D. And honestly, he's right. I mean, while normally Warhammer is a very expensive game to get into, if you need it for base D&D minis, it's not that bad because you can drop $30 and get 10 or 20 goblins.
Depending on what you're buying, yes.
Right, for
Like-
very generic stuff, it works pretty well.
But like for like a pack of, I mean, unless you get like if you buy like the pack of elves, you're gonna get 8 elves and they all look identical.
Yeah.
But like for like the goblins and stuff like that, some of the Warhammer minis have a lot more have like the variation things. You can change up what they look like. My only downside to using Warhammer minis usually is they come in so many tiny bits. It's just an extra process of having to assemble them.
Yeah, but if you don't mind doing
No,
that,
if you don't mind doing that, absolutely.
Yeah, and cost-wise, if you're gonna have a lot of encounters with 10 goblins at a time or something like that, then it is cost effective
Yeah.
to do that.
Like I actually have bought some kobolds and some goblins, mostly because in the grand scheme of things, I'm gonna run D&D for probably as long as I'm alive and capable. And there will never be a campaign where my players will never run into goblins or kobolds.
Yeah, I have a
Like, it's
kit
just
that I always
always
bring
gonna
with
happen.
me.
Yeah.
I have a kit that I always bring with me, and it's all my goblins and all my kobolds, because no matter what happens, no matter where we are, I can bring out all those goblins and all those kobolds.
Yeah, and if you don't mind scaling them, like you can, players can be 10th level. Oh, look, it's goblins, and if you
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Then that's
the
my
third.
favorite shit.
Yeah,
You come here,
my
it's like,
third
oh,
line
fuck,
is a
they're
bunch of
goblins.
humans.
These guys are easy. No, these are goblin fucking commandos.
Yep. I mean, my players were
They're
6th
level
level.
12.
Last game session I ran, my players were 6th level, and there were fights they had with goblins. They're not super dangerous, but they're 30 hit points as opposed to the 6 or whatever goblins normally have. They deal slightly more damage.
I'm always up for just upscaling a lot of the classic monsters. I will always upscale like zombies and skeletons and shit like that.
I do it all the time.
You know what? Sometimes if I'm dealing with a necromancer sort of scenario, or I'm gonna write up a story for that, I don't need to throw in like wights and ghasts and death knights just to get the CR up. It's not fucking worth it. Give me some zombies and skeletons. I'm gonna upgrade them a little bit, and they're gonna be just as cool and badass.
Yeah, it's attrition that kills the player.
It is, yeah. Yeah, my players had a rough time of it last night because of attrition, because they had gone through this entire dungeon and they were heading towards the very last area of the dungeon. And before that, they had an opportunity to rest. And I presented it to them of how long are you guys spending in this room? Because it was a room that they were searching stuff. And it took them a while to figure out how long they were staying there. And they basically came down to 20 minutes is how much time they're spending searching, rather than we're going to take a short rest.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to that last area where they end up having to fight a hobgoblin wizard and 3 trolls at the same time. While they're all at pretty good hit points, a lot of their resources have been burned up. Like they didn't really have any more healing. The warlock was out of spells at this point, other than the Eldritch Blast cantrips. So it ended up being a pretty rough fight on them, all because of attrition. Take those rests when you can get them.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Now that I'm playing the warlock, I'm like, hey, can we have a short rest? Dude, you didn't even do anything. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. Short rest.
We short rested 15 minutes ago.
That's when you beg the wizard to cast catnap on you.
Yeah. And hope they have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I take at the end of every day, and then I get to work for the rest of the day, and then take a real nap. I saw something that was a meme a long time ago. It was like maybe the real reason we're not super awesome adventurers is because none of us have gotten full 8 hours of sleep in a night for the past 20 years. And if we did,
I get 1 day a week. About 1 day a week where I get 8 hours. That was today. I feel really good. I haven't had a nap or anything.
Even when I don't have to get up, I'm not getting 8 hours. Certainly not in a row.
So I got a question for you guys. We would, if we were to basically just put ourselves into a Dungeons and Dragons game, we're all going to be Commodore stats, right?
Yeah, well,
We're commoners. And there's no short.
no, we
We can
wouldn't be.
think that we're better, but we're just commoners.
No, we wouldn't be
No.
because at the very least, every single one of us here, due to our nerdiness, have proficiency in like arcana and religion and history,
Fair enough.
At the very least,
or some combination.
all of our intelligence scores are higher than 10.
Yeah, I can list off more than 10 deities easily. I have a religion score more than a commoner does.
Okay. But we still have the same relative stats as a commoner.
I mean, none of us here are going to have anything above 12.
Right. Okay. So,
Not
how many
likely.
hit points do we have?
That's my assumption, at least.
Yeah,
Hit points? I've got like, I'm like 6.
I would disagree on the none of us having anything above a 12, but I see where yeah, we're gonna have low end, and I say low end adventurer stats. What was the other? The hit points. I mean, that honestly, it would sort of depend on the class that we are.
Like a basketball player, somebody who like maybe not necessarily pro, but somebody who plays basketball on a regular basis, like they go out and hit the courts all the time. Maybe if they've got a 14 in either dexterity or constitution, but that ain't my chunky butt. I'm certainly not going to claim anything above a 12 on a intelligence either, because I didn't fucking finish
They
school.
actually used to have charts on like IQ as opposed to when compared to the intelligence score.
I'd give myself a 12 in wisdom and charisma. I'd give myself a 10 in most of. I probably only have like an 8 in strength and dex. I might have a 12 in constitution in the grand scheme of things, and my intelligence is probably 10. I'm a pretty average guy.
As for hit points, I don't know. Hit points is based off of what class you are in D&D. What class do each of you think you would be?
Well, a commoner has a 1d8.
Which is ridiculous. That's more than wizards.
Um.
Who are actual adventurers.
So, what does the NPC caster class get?
You mean for hit points?
Yeah, it's what is it? They're called warriors, experts, and the last one's called assassin.
Scholars, maybe.
No, it's not scholar. It's whatever the generic caster.
There is a mage,
NPC
but it's
one is.
CR6.
Like the follower levels.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right. It's warrior, expert, and whatever the fucking caster one is. Whatever the caster one is, I've got one level on that.
I wish I had it in front of me.
I'm getting there.
Let's see. I just saw it.
It's probably in a book behind me, but I'm not going to go hunting for it right now.
Yeah, I am Googling it. Oh, nope, none of those are
What
right.
Nerds. No.
I don't know.
It's
We'll find it.
Master's Guide.
Yeah, we'll find it for next time. I'm not going to sit here and dig through Google looking for this thing.
So the reason why I asked all that is because
spellcaster. It's just called spellcaster, and it isn't Tasha's.
Okay.
So someone put up a meme that I wanted to mention before we got off here, and it says someone tries to stab me IRL. Remembering that daggers only deal 1d4 damage and like calm. And then realizing that I'm just a commoner with 4 hit points. Panic again.
Yeah,
well, one stab with a small knife, and I'm gone. I'm pretty much just we're all fleshy at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's why hit points are stupid and don't make sense.
That's why I go with hit points as being like that amount of stamina or constitution of energy you have until you take that fatal blow.
Yeah, I read that the other day. I think that works once you've got a number of levels under you, but when you're first level, that hit points is your fucking hit points. Yeah, because you've got 6 hit points or 8 or 12 or whatever, and you get dropped in 1 or 2 hits. That's fairly realistic.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is.
Once you have 120 hit points, okay, then I understand. Oh, it's your stamina, it's your energy, it's how much, how long you could fight, as opposed to actually how much damage you're taking.
Right.
Yeah. A little bit of a give and take. But then again, wizards all die from 1d4 any damage.
Yep. I mean, D&D is fun. It is not by any means the best combat system out there.
No, of course not. But yeah, it's yeah. I had to have like eight hit points.
8 seems right. 8 seems about right for all of us.
All right, and with that, I think we're good. Panda, any parting words? You want to sing us out?
No.
He's going to sing us out anyway, either him or Bruce. Actually, I might just put both their outros on this one since they both showed up.
Are you still doing that?
Oh, yeah, I do every episode. It's either you or him.
God.
We have to have a good outro.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, Craig.
So long. The grumpiness has been your friend. Now go and spread anger through D&D. No, don't do that. Be happy, be friendly, be awesome, but maintain the boiling hate that inside your heart. I don't know, buddy. I'm rambling at this point. Shut me up and end this podcast.